Hey, it's Neil Mackay here, host of a Vietnam podcast. Thank you so much for choosing to listen to my podcast, whatever you're doing right now, wherever you are in the world. I started this podcast back in 2019 and it was first called 7 Million Bikes, a Saigon podcast. Bit of a long name. And it quickly changed to just a Vietnam podcast. As I talked to more and more people across Vietnam and the world about this country I'd only just arrived in and now have called home for over 7 years. I wanted to learn more about this city and the people that lived here. I didn't realise though that starting a podcast would change my life. I now run 7 Million Bikes podcasts and work with people here in Vietnam and across the world from the Netherlands to the UK and the US to help them make the best podcast they can. Earlier this year, I responded to a Facebook post in an expat group that was looking for someone to be on their YouTube video as they were travelling through Vietnam. So I reached out and then I kind of forgot about it. I didn't really expect a response. But luckily I did, and I was happy to make arrangements to meet Tal Oran, the host of the wildly successful Travelling Clatt YouTube channel. This is what I messaged him. I said, I'd love to take you around town on the back of my bike and show you the craziness of the traffic firsthand and some food spots that are off the beaten track, and also show you the insane developments here. I've been here for nearly 8 years. The amount of new buildings that go up is crazy, and there's even a new bridge in downtown. That might sound silly, but seeing a bridge being built in the middle of a major city was cool. And I still think that's cool. I watched a bridge get built right in the middle of Saigon. So we arranged to meet at 7 a.m. on a Monday morning, and I did exactly that. I took him around Saigon on the back of my bike. Tal has generously allowed me to share the audio from his YouTube video with you. So enjoy the episode and hear some of my story if you don't know it already, and some of my thoughts on life in Saigon and Vietnam as an expat. I'd love to hear what you think, so I've put a link in the notes to leave me a voice message. So I'd love to hear any comments or questions, and then I can feature them on a future episode. Cheers! I'm going to show you the most dangerous district in Saigon.
Wow. Is there anything like this in Glasgow?
Let's see how many we can see on one bike. The record, I think I've seen 5 or 6. Alright, get ready for this.
Jesus. It feels wrong on every level. Oncoming traffic. It's so crazy.
People playing video games while they're driving.
Wow.
Let's see if we can find something technical while driving.
Alright, so we're driving through a pretty amazing market right now.
Road race doesn't exist here. I love showing people around Saigon.
The Avengers building.
So that building straight ahead is the tallest building in Southeast Asia.
What we're looking at right now, like most of these buildings, that's District 1.
Yeah.
Good morning, Moshe. Welcome back to the biggest city in Vietnam. We are in Saigon. It is an early morning right now, and we've got a freaking crazy video for you guys today. In part of trying to uncover all these amazing stories that Vietnam has, we have linked up with a cool man named Neil.
Hello.
How you doing, Neil?
Good, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And Lewis.
Hey.
Can you tell me a little bit about you and what you're doing here?
Yes, so I've lived here in Saigon now for 7 years. And I follow a common expat tale where I came here for 7 weeks, just a short trip, got absolutely hooked with the place, the energy, and 7 weeks turned to 7 years, and here I am, and it's an awesome city, so I'm really excited to show you about today. I started a company called 7 Million Bikes Podcast.
That's the logo, yeah?
That's the logo, yeah. And the reason for 7 Million Bikes is when I was starting, I just read a news article. There was 7.4 million motorbikes in this city for only like 10 million people. And so I was like, oh, that's a cool name. And it's now over 8 million, but the name stays the same. I wanted to show you guys around and show you how crazy this city is, how many motorbikes there are, which you can see already. It's only just turned 7 in the morning. The city wakes up at 6 a.m. There's so much energy. And so I'm going to take you around. We're going to get some coffee, some food. We're going to show you the most dangerous district in Saigon. But we're going to show you some of the amazing new developments as well. The city's just changing like on a daily basis, so I'm excited.
Cool, I'm super excited. We've been roaming around just for like 3 days. Motorcycles are something you can't avoid. It's insane, especially crossing the street. It feels like you're gonna die every time.
Yeah.
It doesn't get old after a second. It's really, really scary. This is one of the biggest things I heard about before coming to Ho Chi Minh was just like There are an insane amount of motorbikes. I heard the driving in Vietnam is crazy, so I want to hop on your bike and see this firsthand. I'm super excited.
Let's do it.
So let's roll, baby. There you go.
So we're gonna go that way. I mean, I nearly got into about 5 accidents just on the way here.
Oh, that's reassuring. I was like, I want to try to avoid being on a bike until I'm on the Ha Chung Loop here. So we've come to get banh mi.
Yeah.
Is it a typical Vietnamese breakfast or is it? Yeah?
Yeah, they love banh mi here.
Yeah.
This country is fueled on banh mi. Yeah. Banh mi and coffee. Let's get a coffee, it's early morning. I need some rocket fuel to start my day.
Alright, so we're driving through a pretty amazing market right now. Wow, this is sweet. Seafood, fish, tight squeeze. Very tight squeeze. But you do have to be on your stuff right now. Like you're hyper aware of everything that's going on and it's tight.
Yeah. I never thought about it like this. It's almost meditative because you can't think about anything else. You kind of get to like kind of mindfulness.
You're just in the zone.
Yeah. Never thought about it like that, but yeah, I'm really.
There's a monk barreling towards you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the monk.
I do have to say everything looks really nice. Everything's super fresh.
The road race doesn't exist here.
You can't get angry.
What I'm excited to show you, we'll finish up in like a really nice neighborhood, and Saigon is just such a juxtaposition of things like this, super local, crazy, and then we can go somewhere where it's like just completely different.
It's like, I guess what you're trying to say is like it's really contrasty.
Oh, dude,
like you'll feel like you're in a place like this, and then you can end up in like a bougie district.
Yeah, exactly.
This is as local, unplanned, chaotic as it gets.
Pretty much, yeah. District 4 is that. And again, this is the most dangerous district in Saigon. I don't think it is. I used to walk this neighborhood all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very dangerous to me, but
people are super friendly, super nice.
coffee culture is pretty huge here, no? Come and you sit down for like a while.
Yeah, locals do. I don't understand how. I don't know. Like they have jobs and they work, and you go by a coffee shop and they'll all be like hanging out. And then you go by 10 p.m. and there's still people hanging out.
So we got here. It's a bunch of chicken, right? We wash it down. So Vietnamese coffee with condensed milk. Oh wow.
It's less sweet, more bitter. It's like a nice balance.
I have to be careful drinking this. I literally got a panic attack yesterday drinking coffee. Because it's so strong. So we're just doing a little banh mi breakfast right now. So good. But luckily, Neil's also showing me that they bring you tea with your coffee. It's a Vietnamese thing. Every coffee comes with iced tea. I'll be honest, I need it right now. My mouth is on fire. I'm like, these chilies in here are killing me. It's got really spicy really quick.
Chilies are deadly.
All the Vietnamese food I've had so far has been not that spicy. But this is like, wow. I like it. I enjoy the flavor, but it is spicy.
They predominantly grew Robusta beans here.
Right.
Yes, Robusta's higher caffeine content than Arabica. So the coffee is stronger but more bitter, so that's why they add the condensed milk to bring down the bitterness. The condensed milk came from the Americans.
Tell me a little bit more about the story behind 7 Million Bikes. Like, you guys rent out bikes to people traveling in Vietnam? No. Also, it's just a media company. This is going to be a really good test for your podcasting. If you can handle an interview with me while your mouth is on fire.
Yeah, no, so one time I had a guy message me on Facebook asking, do I rent out bikes? And I was like, no, it's like I do comedy shows and podcasts. And so I invited him to the show, and so he came to my show that night. And I asked for permission before. I said, can I make fun of you for that? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I was like, I think his name was Ahmed, and I was like, Ahmed's here tonight. Ahmed's only here at the show because he messaged asking to rent a motorbike. I don't do that. So yeah.
It's never been an intention to.
No, it's just a quirky name.
Okay.
Just something funny.
Because when you reached out to me too, the message was like, let me take you on the back of a motorbike. I was like, oh, so this must be like a motorcycle rental company for like tourists or something.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I just decided I wanted to do a podcast about Saigon initially. So initially, I was just like, yeah, a quirky play on words. I was like, oh, 7 million bikes, that'll be fun. So initially it was called 7 Million Bikes, a Saigon podcast. So it kind of blew up, and I started interviewing people from around the world. Everybody has to be connected to Vietnam, so it doesn't matter the race, religion, color, creed, LGBTQ. They just have to be connected to Vietnam. So I've been lucky enough to interview people in America, Switzerland, all over Vietnam. And so it grew to become from a Saigon podcast to being a Vietnam podcast. And then 7 Million Bikes became like the brand. So 7 Million Bikes did comedy shows. We've pulled back on those, but before the pandemic, we're doing lots of comedy shows. We're doing shows at the Hard Rock Cafe here. We're having like over 150 people.
Wow.
I was starting to do lots of quiz nights. I even started putting on music shows, all pre-pandemic, and then obviously that just killed it. Like,
pandemic killed all of it.
Killed everything, right? Yeah. So most of the venues I was doing shows at closed down. I did some online stuff during the pandemic. So this is what happened as well. I was starting to do online quiz nights, online comedy shows, charging for them, getting paid money. I've been hired by companies here in Saigon to do corporate events for the staff because everything was closed. Here in Vietnam, the lockdown just ended like that, but we still couldn't really go out to bars and cafes. But nobody wanted to do anything online because they could leave the house. So my business got killed twice. I started to build a presence and a business online, then that died. And I couldn't do events in person, and I couldn't do events online. So I was left with nothing, and it took about another 6 months before we could even start to do stuff in person. Even since then, that's been a couple of years now, it's still hard bringing out the crowd and the audience. Not because of the pandemic, because a lot of people left, a lot of the performers left.
And you yourself were doing stand-up comedy as well? Yeah. You have a background from that, from Scotland?
No,
or
I started here.
Yeah,
I started. It's been a lifelong dream to do it, and then the opportunity arose here. I was at an open mic night, I had the notes in my pocket. I'd done that a few times, but I'd always got too scared to go on. And then this one night, there was like nobody there. There was like one performer and the host. And the host was like, well, look, that's our show, guys. He's like, any of you guys want to give it a crack? Because I had my notes ready, and it was less scary because there was only a few people there. And I got up and did it. I got some laughs, and that was me hooked. So I've just been doing it ever since. And it's just been. I'm not famous. But I've been recognized a couple of times, which is cool. But I've never wanted to be famous. Just to do comedy one time was a dream. I've now performed in the States, performed in all over Vietnam, in Scotland, New Zealand, Thailand. It's just an absolute dream come true.
Well, for the podcast, do you get recognized here in Saigon like frequently?
Not frequently, often it happens.
Because it has quite a bit of following. Like I saw on Instagram.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people watching it.
Yeah, and I mean, I was in a Phu Quoc, is like an island off of Vietnam, and a girl come up to me, and she was from Scotland, which was crazy. And she's like, I just want to say hello. She's like, I listened to your podcast before I came to Vietnam, and I recognize you from social media. She's like, I love your podcast.
Super cool.
This week I had somebody recognize me as well, which was, well, not recognize me.
So the online world for you right now is your full-time gig. This is what you're doing, podcasting, building the podcast for other people, and then touring random foreigners around on motorbikes.
I know when I saw your post, I was like, it's amazing. Like, I love showing people around Saigon. We've lived here for about the same time, 7 years. I love this place, so the chance to show people around was just awesome. That's why I messaged. I was like, let's get on my bike and let's
cool,
go through around. So I think it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah, let's bounce.
What we're going to do now, we're going to go through District 1, the main district. You can see the Bitexco Tower, which has a helicopter pad on it. Never been used.
The Avengers building.
The Avengers building. So they built a helicopter pad on there. And the idea was meant to be that CEOs could fly in on a helicopter, land, go straight to the office. It's never been used. If you look on the website, it says it's still to be finished. Because if someone told me they didn't account for the headwinds, and it's completely unsafe to land a helicopter because it's too high and too windy. So no helicopter has ever landed on there. I have been on there. I did the stair climbing thing. So you like do a race to climb the stairs. It's like 50 odd floors and you get to walk on the helipad. Anyway, we're going to drive there. Then we're going to go over the new bridge. And I was saying to you, this bridge only opened like less than a year ago. Yeah. One of the craziest, coolest things about Saigon is, it's just local areas. But where we're going to go is all brand new. The developments are just crazy. New buildings. A bridge, it sounds so silly. And I was telling one of my Vietnamese friends, and she's like, where you're from, have you ever seen a bridge being built? And I was like, no, they were all built when I was born. Like, we don't see this kind of things being built. So to me, I thought it was really cool just watching this bridge.
And like slowly appear.
Yeah. So I sound pretty lame to get excited about a bridge, but it's pretty cool. So we're going to go over that, and then the area on the other side. When I first came here 7 years ago, that was just a swamp.
Yeah.
There was nothing there. I can show you old pictures. It was just a green swamp. We're going to go over that bridge. There's now high-rises everywhere.
Really? Wow. In just 7 years?
All built up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's like the most valuable land in the city now. Most expensive land in the city.
Because it's crazy because there was D1 on one side, and then the other side of the river there was nothing.
Yeah.
And in most cities, both sides of the river are prime locations. So they've now drained the swamp, literally. So let's go check
Let's go check it out. We have come here now to the Avengers building. What is this called? What building is this?
Texco.
Patexco.
Yeah.
Is this a corporate office building?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I've been in a meeting up there, it's pretty cool. There's a movie theatre, there's shops in the first few floors.
That's why I keep seeing just a bunch of people going inside.
Yeah, and then there's offices, the rest of it. Yeah.
But I mean, this is a really good show of contrast between what's... it's funny because you go to a city like, I don't know, like New York, right?
Yeah.
Or anywhere in the West, and generally those little streets and markets that we pass through, you can't really find that anymore.
Yeah.
Especially in the West and like bigger cities. But here... This is the magic of being in a city in Southeast Asia, and especially like the biggest city in Vietnam. Yeah. Is you have this, which is comparable to any big city in the world, and then you have the fish market that we drove through.
With a live fish.
Literally on the street.
That's never happened to me before. That's really cool with a live fish. Did you get that?
Yeah, I got it on camera. He's just like driving and there's a fish crossing the street.
Well, this is what I wanted to show you, so let's go now. We're going to drive around, this is called Nguyen Hue Walking Street. My pronunciation is really bad. If any Vietnamese people are watching, you're going to be like, he's butchering that. I know I'm butchering it. This used to be a canal, I think, at one point. It used to be a train station. They've turned it into this beautiful walking street, so they've paved it. And Vietnamese people don't like the sunshine. They're not like us white people where we're like, let's get tanned. Vietnamese people avoid the sun. So it doesn't get busy until dark. But in the evening, this place is packed. There's like games and food and just hundreds, thousands of people walking around. But we'll drive around there. We're going to see the Ho Chi Minh City People's Committee building, which is where the seat of government here in Saigon. They tore down most of the French colonial buildings to build beautiful skyscrapers like this. But this one they kept, so it's a beautiful old French colonial style building. So we'll drive around there. And then we're going to go over the 2TM2 bridge, which is what I get excited about a bridge.
I'm really hyped for this bridge now. I love a good bridge.
In the West, you would never be able to just pull over on a bridge.
Yeah.
We're just going to pull over on a bridge. No problem. You come here at night, there's hundreds of bikes all parked up.
Wow.
Yeah, you come here in the evening and there's just hundreds and hundreds of people on bikes all hanging out, enjoying the view. And you're just like, how is this allowed? Like, imagine in the West, like just a major bridge. And everyone just parks up and hangs out.
Do you feel pretty safe leaving helmets here in Vietnam? Just on the...
Never had one stolen.
Really? Okay. Whenever I come to a new city, I always love to try to go to like the richest part of town or the most developed part of town, because it gives you a good indication of what the most happy people are, how they're living life in a big city here.
Yeah.
You know?
There are so many affluent people here. This is the other myth that Vietnam is a poor country. There are poor people and there's inequality.
Right. Do you feel like there's a huge wealth gap? Like there's a big disparity, high rich society and the low?
Yeah, I mean, they're part of this development, and it's actually fucking awesome. So me and my wife were here yesterday just for a walk around.
It's just like Central Park.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
But like kind of nicer. What was the tallest building in Southeast Asia before? I feel like it's not that. I mean, I guess it is tall.
Petronas Towers.
In Malaysia.
We'll be right back.
Join pilot and adventurer Fernando Pino as he takes you on journeys to discover exciting destinations across the UK and Europe. You'll fly with him to hidden gems and experience local culture, from bustling streets to serene hideaways and the best places to eat, sleep, and play. Travel Plans is more than a podcast. It's your ticket to exploring the world and its history with a friend. In this episode, we are flying to discover a beachside paradise perfect for the whole family. Discover golden sands, activities galore, and even free childcare so you get your own break too. Why am I still here?
I think that
This is taller than the Petronas Towers. Wow.
I heard that this was the tallest one in Southeast Asia.
Yeah. It kind of looks like the Burj Khalifa a little bit, like a mini Burj Khalifa.
It's the tallest building in Southeast Asia.
Tallest building,
Tallest building.
461 meters.
Yeah.
14th tallest in the world. That's where we were.
Wow, what a city, huh?
I cannot imagine seeing this build up
Mental, right? This did not exist.
in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
You moving here like just recently, seeing this go from swamp to this. That's nuts.
Yeah, feel it every day.
Yeah, it's chickens. That and this and any other place in the West, it wouldn't be allowed. There'd probably be some sort of noise pollution law against this. But this, like, all of a sudden you see this and it reminds you where you are for a minute.
But it also drives you crazy here. Like, it drives you crazy. Like, so that energy and all of this stuff, you need to be able to leave. This is, again, a privileged Westerner. you need to be able to get out of Saigon, and that was why the pandemic was really difficult, because we were trapped here for 3 years. So we could leave Saigon sometimes, not all the time, and travel around Vietnam. But we didn't leave Vietnam and mostly Saigon for 3 years. It's really mentally tough because it's a tough place. The pollution, the traffic, the trash, the craziness. You need to be able to get out. So when the pandemic's kind of settled down now, I guess it's over and we've been able to travel internationally, go home. You just love that because you'll be able to kind of breathe a little bit.
Right.
Like, but then you come back to Saigon and you're like, yes, this place is so fun. It's so
I love the
cool,
energy here.
Yeah.
Tell me about the development. How do you feel about it? I mean, like, look, I totally understand how, like, as foreigners, it's not like we're not allowed to have an opinion on this stuff, but like sometimes people will shun you. It's like, hey, if you don't like it, leave.
Oh my goodness, that's said in expat groups here all the time.
Yeah,
if you say anything critical, people are like, if you don't like it, go back to your home country. Like, you're not allowed an opinion.
I know, being an expat who lives in a place that's not a place I was born into, but I have so much love for the place that I live, where I built my house in the Philippines. I feel like maybe I don't have to share those opinions all the time, but like I do hold opinions about the place that I live in. But like, how do you actually feel about the development of this place? Do you think that it will go and get ruined, or do you think it'll get too out of hand? Maybe you'll outgrow the place in the future.
So it's weird because I like to think of myself as a bit of an environmentalist, and I definitely have an environmental core. Try and do no harm, try and use as little as I can. But being here, like development, I kind of welcome it because I mean, I am probably completely wrong in my viewpoint, but it cleans it up. Like, look at this river below us, look at this river bank. You know, it's clean and it's neat and it's tidy, whereas other places in the river, it's just filled with trash and it's gross. And so I've seen development here do good things, like this beautiful park. Okay, it's manicured and it's fake and stuff like that. And I'm sure I'm in the wrong, but I've also seen development for good. Like, it's making the place cleaner and nicer, but it's probably not, because before it was nice green swamp and natural and biological, and now we have all these ugly concrete towers. So overall, it's probably a bad thing, but in reality, it is doing good. It's cleaning it up, it's creating jobs. There's so much jobs here. People, the reduction in poverty here is just insane.
The reduction in poverty.
Of course, like, yeah, I mean, and wealth is just insane. Like, I mean, these people that are living in these buildings, some of them, in my building alone, it's just Audi, Mercedes, Maserati.
And not necessarily expats, like Vietnamese people.
Expat, zero expats. I don't know any expat who owns or even drives a car. Every car is a Vietnamese. Yeah, they're so loaded and making things happen, owning companies, starting companies. That's a kind of another cliche that like foreigners come over here and, you know, they're able to take advantage colonial style and start new businesses. And yeah, sure, they do. And 20, 30, 40 years ago, that definitely happened. But everything here now is Vietnamese driven. Everything's Vietnamese owned. Everybody who's wealthy I've ever seen, anyone who's in a nice car is Vietnamese. The wealthier people being pulled out of poverty. You know, my wife teaches at an Australian university. We teach at a language school. The kids that come to that school are from wealthy families. You know, they've got MacBooks, iPhone 14s, they get dropped off in Bentleys. They've come from money. And it's amazing. It's not this poor country.
And it's not a bad thing necessarily.
No, not bad at all.
Having a wealthy society in your country is a good thing. I mean, it shows that something is moving in the right direction.
Inequality is bad in every country, and I say we, but in general, people seem pretty happy. They're fed, they've got shelter, they've got water, they've got, you know, their needs are met. Obviously, there are homeless people, but not huge, not like America, you know, it's got back.
Yeah, nowhere near. But I would go to say that I think generally the rule follows that a lot of people in Southeast Asia have a different mentality a lot of people in the West do.
For sure.
And like, even in complete poverty-stricken situations, they're able to put a smile. And I'm not saying this in like a weird foreigner, I love everybody so happy, because that's not the truth. People work hard and people have hardship and they have a hard life, but it's a different mentality. I think maybe a hard life has been following a lot of these people for so long, for generations, that it's just kind of a custom. Like, it's like we don't have another option but to put a smile on our face and keep trucking on and keep moving forward. And that's how you have things like this develop with a population who also lives in complete poverty. But it's not like, I don't know, you don't feel it. Maybe it's just because we're foreigners, but you don't feel like huge divide in happiness. I feel like every Vietnamese person I've interacted with so far has been completely wonderful and super nice. All right, so we're leaving this insanely beautiful developed area. And because we're in such an amazing country for street food, we're gonna go get some more street food.
One of the good things is when they want to get things done in Vietnam, they do it. So like 5-6 years ago, they were like, we want to create our own car industry. So they just imported all these engineers and technicians from Germany and literally created VinFast in a year.
Wow.
They created their own car company in literally like a year, right?
Electric car company.
No, they started off with like regular cars,
Yeah.
and now they're just focusing on electric cars. I think.
Oh, but this looks like a regular. Is this a regular car?
This is VinFast, this V is VinFast. Oh, this is regular.
That's a regular car. That's an electric.
Continues the petrol cars, yeah.
So they're just on electric now.
Do electric now.
And then you have like a charging station here, just as if this was Tesla. You got the same.
The Tesla Vietnam. Vietnam don't wait for other people. They're like, oh, we'll just do it ourselves.
Yeah,
and so they get ahead of it. Tesla will probably never be a big thing here.
Yeah.
Because
And they're-
VinFast did it first, and they do it like that. They're like, we want a car industry. You make a car
I
industry.
think like locals are quite proud to
Oh, of
drive
course.
Vin cars.
Yeah.
You know, it's made in Vietnam, so they want to.
And then the same company, VinFast, owns this mall.
Yeah,
Yep.
the whole thing,
And
all the
Vin
apartments.
Hospital, Vin Group, Vin Mech,
Yeah,
Vin School.
yeah. This area, because this has the Vin School and the Vin Hospital,
Yeah.
so it's like its own ecosystem.
They started off as a noodle company in Ukraine.
A noodle company.
A 2-minute noodle company. Instant noodle company in Ukraine. And it's like-
now, huh? One of my favorite things about traveling Southeast Asia has been the sugarcane juice. 20,000 dong, 40 cents.
so hydrating. It's so hot right now.
It's so hot. It literally, Neil's idea was like, we need to do this video early in the morning. He warned me the second we got on the bike. You got about an hour before it just becomes a sweat show. And it literally, oh my, it's so hot. You recommend people to do Saigon by bike? If they can?
Absolutely,
Yeah?
100%.
Super cool that Neil's literally taking me around as a tour guide today. Even though he's not a tour guide, just helping me out by showing me the city. Dude, you are the MVP of riding around in Saigon. That was killer. What an adrenaline rush.
I'm pretty exhausted. That's as long as I've driven about Saigon in one go.
Woo! You gotta be like on edge the entire time. Like it's literally, you gotta be hyper aware. It's gotta be like, your brain's gotta be fried after something like this. Okay, I did want to ask you, considering you have so much knowledge about this city and the area, like what's your long-term plans in Vietnam? Do you think, is this home? Are you staying here forever? Do you know?
I came here for 7 weeks. And I ended up staying for 3 months. And then 3 months became 6 months. 6 months became a year. A year became 2. Then we had a pandemic. 2 became 4. 4 became 7. So I have no idea what the future holds. Home right now, and I love it here. Problem is, like, Vietnam doesn't offer a long-term plan for residency or living here. You have to renew your visa. In Thailand and other Southeast Asian countries, they don't even offer like a retirement visa. So without any like long-term residency plan, like just logistically, it's almost impossible to be like, I'm gonna be here for the rest of my life.
You just don't know.
Because I just don't know. So I could be, is the answer, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I probably don't think so. Like we mentioned, the pollution and the traffic, the trash, they're massive problems. But you know, the longer we've been here and we've gone back to other countries, but like these countries aren't perfect either. We lived in New Zealand before here and we love New Zealand more than anywhere. Clean and it's green and it's beautiful. But it's also really far away and it's expensive and it's not warm and beautiful like this. So everywhere has its ups and downs. Vietnam's home for right now, probably for the next couple of years. And after that, we'll just see what happens.
Before we end up the video, where can everybody find you and your work and what you got going on?
Yeah, the best thing, just go 7millionbikes.com.
There's a-
7, S-E-V-E-N, 7millionbikes.com. You can find all my podcasts on there. I do an online podcast course, so if you want to start your own podcast, you can do that from anywhere in the world. If you want to work with me, I can help you develop your own podcast for business or for pleasure. So that's the biggest thing, and yeah, we can do. I work already with clients all over the world, so we live in a globalized world, right? So check me out on 7millionbikes.com, obviously on Instagram, YouTube, social media, all of that stuff. Thank you so much, though. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, man.
I do love Saigon, and to be able to take you around and show you this crazy, crazy city has been so awesome.
Well, thank you, brother. It was a pleasure meeting you. I'll leave links down below in the description for everything. And thank you as well, man. It was super fun. And Moshe, you can go away. Thank you. We'll see you guys in the next one. I love you a long time. Goodbye, class.
Hột gà nướng, hột vịt lộn, hột vịt sữa, trứng cút lộn, bắp xào đây. Bắp xào đây.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're like me, you may use your laptop at places where you have to use public Wi-Fi. This opens you up to digital snoopers. It's a massive problem. It can be your internet service provider, or you know who, looking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal trying to steal your bank passwords or credit card info, or even a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. These days, it is vital that you keep your data safe. NordVPN keeps all of these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites that are phishing for your data, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely even while away from home. And it's easy to use, even I could use it. I've actually been using NordVPN for years now here in Vietnam, and I'm excited to be an affiliate partner with them. I've used NordVPN to watch Netflix, BBC, Disney Plus with ease, and I also know that my information and data are safe from prying eyes, whoever they may be. Join now and you'll get 68% off and 3 months free when you go to my link, nordvpn.com/SMB. Just again, for those hard of hearing, nordvpn.com/SMB. The link is also in the show notes. I know nobody checks them out, but go check that out and you can get the link from wherever you are listening to this podcast. As an affiliate partner, it also means that I will get a small commission when you sign up, but at no extra cost to you. So not only will you be getting a great deal through 7 Million Bikes, you get a great VPN and you'll be supporting 7 Million Bikes podcast. Stay safe online and enjoy the shows you love. Any questions, just let me know. You know how to get in touch with me. And thanks for listening to this show. Cheers.